What it do, what it do, what it do. It is your girl Empress in here one more again. And if you are riding with me, that means, yep, we made it one more week. So congratulations, right? Pat ourselves on the back because God only knows what we've been through in a week's time. So moving forward, as you come on in, please, by all means, show your girl some love and hit that like button. And if you are new here, I want to say welcome. Please let me know that you're new in the comment section so I can shout you out. And in advance, thank you and welcome to the family. And for those who are returning and who have been rocking with me, you know how we do. Drop a what it do in the comment section. Let me know that you slid through to exchange some of this positive energy with me. So, as I said before, please, by all means, show your girl some love and make sure you hit the like button. If you are new here and you're subscribing, make sure that when you open the subscribe tab that you hit the all button. Make sure that the bell is black so you will be notified every time I drop some new content. So moving right along, we are coming to a close in this trigger series, and it has been a doozy, I should say. Even though it's been good, some of the information that I think we have shared together, hopefully it got some wheels turning in your head, and encouraged you, inspired you to make your adjustments to get to the better version of yourself if you are not already there. However, really, there is no there because life is a journey. And I don't think that we really reach our destination until, we have transitioned. Because I think, and this is just coming from me, we should just always be in the the mode of or in the mood to keep advancing, keep learning, right? Because changing is inevitable. So we got to keep it moving. Um, so it's Thursday, and you know what we do for Thursday? It's Thankful Thursday. So definitely take time to drop in the comments what you are thankful for, what you are grateful for. You know that I do not like the whole easy running the mill. I'm thankful for my car, my house, my family. I really want you to take this time to really dig deep within yourself and find out what you're grateful for. And what I'm looking for is usually those things that we do on an everyday basis that we take for granted, like just getting up and going walking. Some people aren't afforded that opportunity. So that's how I want you to look at this time right here. This portion of this video is to look at something that you really haven't um really thanked God for. So what I am thankful for, what I am grateful for is the ability to have an open mind. And a lot of people don't have the opportunity, or I don't want to say the opportunity, they just don't practice that. Because everybody has free will. You're able to do whatever it is that you want to do. But to be in a position to really have an open mind and to be able to listen to people, hear them out, not really go on a judgmental or a bias or have a biased outlook on life and what's going on in the world, just not to be in this tunnel vision. And I think the ability to have that working properly in your life, being able to have an open mind, it gives you the opportunity to look at situations hopefully from all sides, and not just from your perspective. Because believe it or not, our perspectives are governed, if you will, through our experiences. And so if we haven't necessarily personally dealt with the situation, then we go on this hypothetical, this guessing on how we may feel about a situation. And so just remember that when someone is expressing something that you may not necessarily agree with, or you may not really have any information, just have an open mind. Don't be so ready to shoot somebody down for the simple fact, if you're trying to explain something or get your point across or want to be heard for that fact, you will want somebody to give you that same respect. So with that being said, that's what I am thankful for. That's what I'm grateful for. Being able to have an open mind, because I understand that most of my decisions are based off of my experiences, you know? And if you haven't been in my shoes, you're not necessarily going to see things from my perspective. But being that, and I know I've already said it, that I try to take that seat and really listen and ingest what you're saying and what is being told to me. I think that that is a wonderful thing, to be able to give the other person that opportunity to uh, be in a safe space to express themselves. But anyway, moving forward. So drop in the comments what you're thankful for. That's what I'm thankful for. And so now it's time for me to check the temperature, right? So, how is your soul doing? Yes. How is your soul doing right now? What side of the spectrum are you on? Are you in the high vibrational area, or are you in the low vibrational area? I hope that when you woke up, you woke up with a grateful heart. You thank God for all the things that you have been blessed with, um, even the lessons that you're learning that may be in the shape of a difficulty. You can always look for the opportunity to be better. But anyway, what's your temperature? How's your soul doing? Hopefully, you haven't allowed anxiety to completely run amok in your life. Um, Hopefully you're just in a good space. Why? Because if you're able to see this video, understand that if you're watching it on your phone or you're watching it on your computer, there are people out there that don't have access to this type of technology, even though it may seem readily available to everyone. It's not true. So hopefully you are in a high vibrational mode. Remember, like attracts like. Whatever you're going through, whatever mood you're in, you are tending to send that out, excuse me, vibrationally. So make sure that you're sending out the good stuff, right? Because we want that to boomerang right on back to us. And by all means, I'm not saying that, you know, negative things don't happen even if you're in a high vibrational state in your life. It's just that if you're operating in a high vibration, when unfavorable things tend to surface, you're able to respond to them in the appropriate manner. That's how we get down. We don't react, we respond. So anyway, moving forward, if you made it this far, hopefully I know you have, make sure, if you haven't done already, to hit the like button. And if you haven't done so, subscribe if you feel in my vibe. Okay. So, what we're going to get into, this is life study, and we're talking about self love. And as of late, and I want to say that at least maybe we can even go back and say the last 5 to 10 years, it's really been big when people say, self love is become almost a cliche word now. And I don't think that a lot of people really understand what self love is. Um, I know when I started hearing that, it's almost like, go buy you something. Right? Go spend some money. Go rack up some more debt. Go on a shopping spree. And as they say, it ain't tricking if you got it. But, usually when you are in a position to do the inner work, and you are testing these things out, you know, doing self love and self reflection and all this stuff, you're trying to find your way within these waters. So that's what we're gonna do really fast today. Um, And of course, the things that I'm going to be reading, because I like to have resources. I like to incorporate different things. I don't want it to just come from me. And that's why I always encourage to, you know, drop some comments in the comment section so we can, you know, break the ice and get this conversation started on tackling these things that may be preventing us on being the best versions of ourselves. So, anywho, we're talking about self love. I apologize in advance if I'm talking fast, but I know, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So, um, as I was doing my research on self love, I pulled up the definition, and this is coming from the bbrfoundation.org. All my references will be in the description box below. And it says, what does self love mean? It says, self love is a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that support our physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. Self love means having a high regard for your own well being and happiness. Self love means taking care of your own needs and not sacrificing your well being to please others. So, that's a whole lot to impact just within that definition itself. Um, it says self love means having a high regard for your own well being and happiness. I want to say having a high regard, I'm not talking about, or I believe that this definition is not talking about being cocky, being arrogant. That's not promoted in my book, a true sense of self love, because it's not going to attract the type of reciprocation from others that you may be looking for, because we tend to, at least for me, I stay away from people who believe that they're higher than me, that they're looking down on me. And unfortunately, there are people like that in this world. um and to be honest, I know that even though they may not express it, they got to be some of the loneliest people in this world, because arrogance, it just gives off that foul that foul vibration, that low vibration. At least for me, I don't want to be around it. And then it says self-love means taking care of your own needs. And by all means, if you are not an adolescent and you're an adult, I hope that you would be uh, making sure that you can take care of yourself. And I trust me, I know that things are hard. Okay, this world right now is not its kindest, and so even if you may be working and you may not, be at the job that you may not necessarily want at this point, at least you have a job. If you can take care of your basic needs, then hats off. Once again, that is not readily available to a lot of people right now. So that's something to be thankful for. And then it says not sacrificing your well-being to please others. And so that is like a video all within itself. Um, in some instances, if you are a parent, you do have to make sacrifices for the well being of others, which will be your children, hopefully. Um, that you're not meaning to, have them out here fending for themselves. Um, and if you are in relationships, and not even just intimate relationships, your working relationships, um, there has to be an element of compromise to a certain degree. Okay, so you, like I was talking about, having that tunnel vision earlier, you can't just walk around this world and just say, this is where I am, it's just for me, and this and that and the third, because at the end of the day, you're not on the island. You need other people, whether or not, people always say, especially these um, social media celebrities, if you will, that they're self-made, and it's nothing wrong with that. However, you're really not self-made, because whatever it is that you're doing is dependent on the reciprocation of other people. You wouldn't have an audience if it wasn't for other people. So technically, you're not really self made. Just my thoughts. But anyway, moving forward, like I said, the things that I'm going to read, uh, the um, the links will be in the description box. And so like I said, I was doing my research and I came across this, and I know it's like, I just don't want to seem like I'm just reading, but some people actually like that. I mean, that's why Audible is so big right now, because people are not having the real time to read. So, people are reading the text to you. So that's what I'm going to do. This comes from the selfspace.com. And this is about self love. So I'm going to read, and of course, stop periodically to give a little commentary. But the way that it's written, I'm just appreciative of this writer. I believe her name is Amanda. I apologize if it's wrong. I should have wrote it down. But I'm going to quickly read what she wrote, and let's just dive right in it. It says, self love. Love yourself. How can you expect others to love you if you don't love yourself? These sentiments and other principles of the self love movement have caused so many of us to hold on tightly to the idea that we need to fully love ourselves in order to be lovable, that we need to be fully worked on ourselves, be all tidied up, put together, and completely emotionally, physically, socially, spiritually healthy before entering into a relationship, or before we can be really lovable. Loving ourselves is not a prerequisite to being in a relationship, nor is it a reflection on how lovable we actually are. We don't learn to love ourselves in isolation, because we don't exist in isolation. To be human is to need other humans, and our capacity to love ourselves is often based on the amount of love we've received from others. It's all good and well shouting, love yourself, at the top of our voices, but when that's heard by those of us who have found who excuse me, who have found it hard, those of us who experience our needs going unmet, of having countless disappointing relationships, prolonged periods of isolation or loneliness, abusive partners, or emotionally neglectful parents, it can leave us feeling like we're failing, or that there is something wrong with us. If this is you, know that you're not alone in it. And if you find yourself feeling increasingly alienated by the self love movement and getting into a spitting rage every time you see quotes screaming at you from Instagram feed, join us as we go deeper for the usual: have a long bath, put on a face mask, go for a walk. Obviously, these are great too, but as the distance between us and our friends and family feels even more stretched out, it can serve us to think about what self love looks like in realistic practice. It can be great to have alone time, to have a bath, to cook ourselves a nice meal for one, but this isn't self love. It's more self reliance and self sufficiency. Self love, on the other hand, is inextricably linked to self esteem, it being our ability to see ourselves as a flawed, imperfect individual and still hold ourselves in high regard. Self love is the ability not to fall into a puddle of shame or self hatred even when we mess up. It's trying new things, knowing that we could fail without thinking of ourselves, therefore, as failures. Self reliance is often something we develop because we have to. It can end up becoming a second nature, and it can be a great skill that helps us going keep us that helps us keep us going when we feel like we are out in the world on our own. But when it comes to self-love, it can often feel more challenging, more conscious, and less automatic. It is hard work. It looks like constantly speaking against our inner critic and trying our best to unlearn the countless unhelpful messages we've received. It is noticing when what we are doing is more self reliance and questioning the often internalized belief that all we have is ourselves to depend on, that we would be bothering others if we were to ask for help. We are all incredibly complicated and complex. Our thoughts and feelings don't always come to us clearly, labeled, ready to be named out loud to a loved one looking at us in absolute confusion, wondering why we are in a funk and being standoffish. Sometimes our emotions can hide in our stomach, jaws, our fists, tightly wound, knotted, and sticky. They come out in our bodies and come out in our relationships, and it serves us to give ourselves a break when this happens. When we treat our emotions like enemies, that's exactly what they start to feel like. Feeling itty is not a sign that we're doing life wrong. We are when we invalidate or judge our own emotions, we strip them of their ability to teach us. Difficult emotions are a part of our contract with being a fully feeling, messy human being. To love ourselves is to allow space for them without rushing to our emotional exits, shaming and or shooting ourselves out of what we are feeling. when when was it decided that we must love ourselves all by ourselves in a world that so relentlessly tells us that we aren't good enough, quote unquote, for that job, to be seen, heard, and validated, for that relationship, and so on? We set ourselves up for failure when we try to maintain a constant state of being self-love bliss. Sometimes we won't like ourselves very much, never mind love. Sometimes we will make mistakes and feel like rubbish. Knowing this, start with self compassion, a bit of empathy and gentleness towards yourself, and work your way up from there. Any kindness that you show your loved ones when they make a mistake, try to mirror that with yourself. It also goes beyond face masks, although they're great too. Self love isn't just saying yes to the things that we enjoy. It's saying no to the things that you don't. Sorry, there's a typo there. It's saying no to the things that don't serve you. Is that thing you're doing self-care or self-sabotage? Let me ask that question again. Is that thing you're doing self-care or self-sabotage? Are you not responding to messages because you're holding a boundary, or are you not responding because you are withdrawing and isolating? Just like every other skill we have to learn, it takes practice and constant work. Know that self love is less about the ability to withstand loneliness or establish independence, and more about awareness and acceptance of our incompleteness and imperfectness. Loving ourselves doesn't have to be a radically individualistic pursuit. It's about letting others love us even when we feel unlovable, because their version of us is often kinder than our own. We all struggle loving ourselves, trusting others, coping with our emotions, communicating effectively, understanding ourselves, honoring our potential, and feeling relatively authentic, confident, and unashamed. And we beat ourselves up for not nailing these things 100% of the time. If we let others into this less filtered part of our lives, we would notice that we're not alone in any of these struggles. So challenge yourself today by letting a loved one, a friend, or a colleague in on let a colleague in on what might be really going on with you. Have that vulnerable conversation. And that's the end of this reading. And I just appreciate her writing that, simply because it just reinforces everything that I have been saying over these past few weeks. Um, we have to get to a point where we can do the self reflection and not beat ourselves up. Be able to look at the things that we have gone through, keywords, gone through, and not allow them to damage who we have the potential to be. We really have to nail, to me, this self love aspect of ourselves down, simply because if we don't really know ourselves, what are we putting out into the universe? How are we presenting? And it's a lot for people to look at self-love and think that they have to be driving this type of car, and wearing these types of clothing, wearing these types of name brands. But without those things, because they're materialistic, who are you? you know do you need those things to define who you are? And that's what I believe that she was saying, when it comes to, is it really self-care or self-sabotage? Or because there's a thing, people trying to keep up with the Joneses, thinking that that is going to put you in a different I mean, it'll put you in a different tax bracket if you don't have the real funds to fund the things that you're purchasing. You're really gonna be in a different tax bracket. But anyway, um, those things don't define you. You know, if I was to ask you, you know, let's go do something you like to do right now. Let's go do it. Could you tell me readily, what it is that you honestly like to do, something that truly makes you smile, not going out and on a shopping spree and collecting these things? What can you do outside of that that would give me an indication that you are in touch with your inner being? What are those things? So moving on, because I'm gonna try and keep this short. This one came from healthline.com, and it says 13 steps to achieving total self-love. So we're just gonna run through these really quick. um I didn't write down who authored this, but it'll be in the description box. And quickly go through these 13 things, and then we're going to call it one. And hopefully, you'll take some time to press the pause button on this video and take some time to reflect whether or not these things have affected you. Are you still being affected by it? What adjustments can you make to be better? So let's jump right into it. Number one, and I love this right here. Stop comparing yourself to others. I mean, we can just pack it up right now, right? It says we're socialized to be competitive. So comparing ourselves to others is natural, but it can be dangerous. There's just no point in comparing yourself to anyone else on the planet, because there's only one you. Rather, focus on yourself and the journey. The shift of energy alone will help you feel free. Oh my gosh. It's nothing wrong comparing yourself to others. In the in the entrepreneurial field, they always tell you to have someone that you look up to. Why? Because you aspire to be where they are. So you definitely have to, you know, look at them in such a way where it inspires you to reach for higher heights. Not look at them and start feeling some type of way, and feel that it's you against them. That's not necessarily what it's saying here. There's only one you. And so the only person who you should be in competition with is yourself. Being better than you were yesterday, moving forward. Because that's a whole nother, we can get into it if you so choose. Just leave it in the comments. But number two, don't worry about others' opinions. In the same vein, don't worry about what society thinks or expects of you. You can't make everyone happy, which is so true. So this is a waste of time and will only slow you down on your journey to being the best you. Um, you do have to worry about others' opinions to a certain degree. If you are the type of individual that have to go into a workspace, hopefully you would have a good work ethic so you can maintain your employment, and making sure that you are performing adequately to have a cohesive work environment, because we are at work. If those of you who are having to clock in a work environment more than you are at home, so you don't want people um, opinion of you being, let's just say, you being a lazy worker. Now, being that there are some people like that, and if you know that you are not a lazy worker, you know, make sure that your actions are reflecting who you perceive yourself to be. You know, that make sure that it can mesh, if you will, in a good harmonious state. Um, if you feel what I'm saying. But I also understand too when they're saying don't worry about other people's opinions, because like I was saying earlier, we get so bogged down with having to drive this type of car, we have to be wearing this, we have to have this type of cologne or perfume, you know, we have to have the new bag in order to be looked at as a person of worth. And that's just not the case. So if you are a person that is cool with, you know, being in sweats all day and you're still maintaining your life, and you feel that your life is, you're okay with where you are right now, then don't worry about, you know, the world saying no, you have to be in stilettos and you have to be in Givenchy and uh all the other things. Don't worry about that. Do you? Because as it was saying in the other reading, to be your authentic self, that's what you want to present out to the world. Because how long I was listening to another YouTube creator, and he was saying that um I haven't fact checked this, but he was saying in psychology it says that it's only takes 3 months for a person to um reveal who they really are inside. So if you are going around, you know, putting up this facade that you're this type of person, and you know, shop here and you buy this, that, and the third, like how long can you keep up that facade until you're found out? So just be your authentic self, period, point blank. Um, Allow yourself, this is number three, allow yourself to make mistakes. We're told again and again from a young age, nobody's perfect, everyone makes mistakes. But the older you get, the more pressure you feel never to fail. Cut yourself some slack. Make mistakes so you can learn and grow from them. Embrace your past. You're constantly changing, you should be, making your adjustments and growing from who you once were into who you are today and who you will be one day. So forget about that voice in your head that says you need to be perfect. Make mistakes, lots of them. Fail forward. That's a book. The lessons you'll gain are priceless. Now, before we move on to number four, I am not saying go out there and do all kind of drugs and put yourself in dangerous, unsavory situations. You know, just going out there and running amok. That is not what this is saying. It is saying, you know, come out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to make those mistakes, because nothing beats a fail like a try, you know. And how do you even know that you're going to succeed if you don't allow yourself to go out there and make those mistakes? Me being an entrepreneur, you know, it was a lot of trial and error, and it's still going to be trial and error. I would like to minimize those, but sometimes, you know, it's, you just can't prevent it. But what I can do is take those lessons that I've learned from them. Now I know what not to do and move forward. And then if I see someone um, traveling down a path that didn't turn out to be good for me, you know, if that advice is asked for, then I'll be able to have that personal one-on-one hands-on experience that say, you know what, I tried this in an entrepreneurial sense, I'm saying. Um, and it didn't work for me. But however, what might not work for me might work for you. But don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to take risks. You know, like it was saying earlier, we're not in isolation. We don't exist in isolation. You're going to have to step out of your comfort zone if you want to move forward in life. So, anyway, number four, remember your value doesn't lie in how your body looks. This is fundamental. So many things in the world want to distract you from this powerful truth. Sometimes even your own internalized sexism affirms your thoughts of inadequacy. You are valuable because you are you, not because of your body. So wear what makes you feel good. If it's a lot or if it's a little, wear what makes you feel confident, comfortable, and happy. Once again, do you, but be mindful of your environment. If you don't want the excessive uh, negativity, I would hope that you wouldn't go into a corporate job with a bikini on. Come on, you got to have common sense here, to say the least, when it's talking about this. But in this instance, if you don't like the way you look, first of all, God made you, okay? God made you. And sometimes, you know, some of us we're born with ailments. Um, or you might find yourself on the heavier side of the game. Then if that's the case, definitely you have to love who you are. You have to love yourself enough to say, you know what, if I'm on the heavier side of the game, I'm going to start to eat healthier, live a healthier lifestyle. Why? Because if you want to have your life prolonged, then you have to take care of this vessel. You only get one body. This is only one life. You don't get a do-over. So you definitely have to take care of yourself. But your value, if you're in the gym right now, and let's say you still got 5 pounds, 10 pounds to go, don't hang your hat on the fact that you're in this progress of making yourself better, and you're not going to like yourself until you get to that goal. No, you're loving yourself right now, and that's what's going to aid you into attaining your goal. Okay, because if you're in a sitting in a seat of self-hate, and you're talking negative to yourself, I highly doubt if you're going to be able to achieve your goal. Why? Because you're chopping yourself down on the inside instead of building yourself up. So that's not what we do here. We build ourselves up. Number five, don't be afraid to let go of toxic people. What? Not everyone takes responsibility for the energy they put out into the world. Oh my gosh. If there's someone who is bringing toxicity into your life and they won't take responsibility for it, that might mean you may need to step away from them. Don't be afraid to do this. It's liberating and important, even though it may be painful. Remember, protect your energy. It's not rude or wrong to remove yourself from situations or the company of people who are draining you. We're not even going to get into it. That right there is self explanatory. Protect your energy. Okay. That is like Mando in this space that we're cultivating here. Protect your energy. Okay. Be mindful of what you're putting out into the universe. Why? Because it's going to come right back. So just be mindful. Number six, process your fears. Like erring, feeling afraid is natural and human. Don't reject your fears, understand them. This healthy exercise can really help with your mental health. Interrogating and evaluating your fears help you gain clarity and unmask issues in your life that were causing you anxiety. That in turn can help alleviate all your anxiety. Number seven, trust yourself to make good decisions for yourself. We so often doubt ourselves and our ability to do what's right, when most of the time we do know in our hearts what's best. Remember that your feelings are valid. You're not losing touch with reality. You know yourself better than anyone else. So be your best advocate. And that's one thing when it comes to triggered, being triggered, having been triggered. Um, Depending on the severity of the situation or situations, we tend to lose the ability to trust ourselves in the moves we make or the moves we want to make. So, say for instance, if you want to try something, and this is why they say, your circle of friends is so important. If you want to try something, and every time you speak up or you vocalize something, and somebody shooting you down, shooting you down, shooting you down, shooting you down, that becomes a trigger for you. Then you end up isolating yourself. Why? Because then it becomes internalized that, I can't say nothing because every time I say something, I get shot down. And so you don't even trust yourself to keep going in life. Then you become just this shell of a person that is just existing. And that's not what life is all about. I know that when you have been subjected to things that have done harm and caused, ill memories in your mind, um we tend to become paranoid. We're not trusting our environment. We're not trusting those in front of us, behind us, whatever. We stop trusting, and we just got to get back to that point where we're trusting ourselves. We have to unlearn those things that has been force fed to us, has placed us in a position to become triggered. We just have to unlearn those things and slowly rebuild ourselves to say, you know what, I can trust myself to move on these thoughts and these feelings. Okay, so get to the point where you can start trusting yourself, feeling worthy to trust yourself, because you can. So moving on, number 8, take every opportunity life presents and create your own. The timing is never going to be perfect for that next big step in your life. The setup may not be ideal, but that shouldn't hold you back from reaching to meet your goals and dreams. Instead, seize the moment because it may never come back. Man, if this isn't a big thing, I always talk about the present moment. Get present, mindfulness, self awareness. If we don't get out of our heads, how many opportunities are going to pass us by? The very thing that can propel you to being the best version of yourself, you miss it because you've sheltered yourself, you've isolated yourself, because the past knowledge is, because of the past, you're allowing that to imprison you, continuing to keep you shut out of life. And that's not what life is all about. You can't live in a box. You got to break free of that. You got to seize the moment, take advantage of those opportunities, because that person you may never see again, that job or whatever, you have to be able to say within yourself, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this. I'm going to say what I need to say in a respectful way. Why? Because you deserve to be heard, number one, but you may not have the opportunity again. And what if this is yet that one opportunity? Don't miss it, because you're allowing your past to keep you stagnant, isolated. No, that's not what we do. Okay? Break out of that. Do the inner work. That's why we're talking about self-love. These ways to help propel you to loving yourself. Number 9, put yourself first. Don't feel bad about doing this. Women, especially, can grow accustomed to putting others first. Although there's a time and place for this, it shouldn't be a habit that costs you your mental and emotional well being. Man, touching on this real brief. Women, because naturally we are nurturers, we tend to overgive. And I know that is something that I'm working on. And there's nothing wrong with giving, but there was a something on Instagram that I saw today, and it said something to the effect that hold on, I really want to say this correctly. I took a screenshot of it because it says givers need to set limits because takers rarely do. Okay? If that's not facts, it's nothing wrong with putting yourself first. Just make sure that it's done in a proper context. Like I was talking earlier, if you are a parent, you can't keep putting yourself first because you have to make sacrifices for the little one that God has blessed you with. Okay. Um, so anyway, let me read this again. It says, don't feel bad about doing this, putting yourself first. Women especially can grow accustomed to putting others first. And I don't want to leave out the men because men tend to go hard too. Some of them. Although there's a time and place for this, it shouldn't be a habit that costs you your mental and emotional well being. Find the time to decompress. Without decompressing and recharging, you can put serious strain on yourself. Hello, burnout. Whether it's spending a day in bed or outdoors in nature, find what helps you decompress and dedicate time to this. Number 10, feel pain and joy as fully as you can. Allow yourself to feel things fully. Lean into pain, revel in your joy, and don't put limitations on your feelings. Like fear, pain, and joy are emotions that will help you understand yourself and ultimately realize that you are not your feelings. Okay? Identify your feelings. Don't just let them boil. I mean, I'm sure all of us at some point in time, myself included, have kept my feelings in myself. And then I become a teapot on the stove. And, little by little, the fire underneath my pot, it gets higher and higher because of the things that I haven't expressed myself about. And then I just blow over the whistle. Okay? Don't allow yourself to boil over. You have to find ways to decompress. Number one, exercise boldness in public. Get into the habit of speaking your mind the right way. Boldness is like a muscle, it grows the more you exercise it. Don't wait for permission to take a seat at the table. Join the conversation. Hello, in the comment section. Contribute your thoughts. Take action and know that your voice is just as important as everyone else's. Okay? As I say with everything, there's a way that you do it. You don't want to, interrupt anyone. You don't want to be rude, but in a classy manner, when it's your turn in the conversation, definitely by all means express yourself. But make sure that you're being respectful to those who you are around. Why? Because you will want to be respected. Hello, reciprocity. Number 12, see beauty in the simple things. I love this. Try and notice at least one beautiful small thing around you every single day. Make note of it and be grateful for it. Gratitude not only gives you perspective, it's essential to help you find joy. Number 13, be kind to yourself. The world is full of harsh words and critique. Don't add yours to the mix. Hello, the negative self talk. That's what I'm talking about. Speak kindly to yourself. Don't call yourself mean things. Celebrate yourself. You come so far and grown so much. Don't forget to celebrate yourself, and not only on your birthday. So, the takeaway in all of this, even if you don't feel particularly powerful, think about how far you've come, how you've survived. You're here right now, alive and powerful beyond your knowledge. Be patient with yourself. Self love may not happen overnight, but with time, it will settle itself into your heart. Yes, you may struggle, but you'll look back on these moments and see how they were stepping stones on your journey to being the best you. Man, if that's not juicy, I don't know what is. So, as we come to a close, make sure that you are not masking, meaning purchasing things that is going to try and fill the gap in your soul. The only way to truly fill those gaps is to do the inner work. And this is what this is about: self love, true self care. Okay? So I jotted down some questions. What types of things were you doing for yourself before the trauma started in your life? Whatever that has been done to you in the past that has put you in a position to, now have to identify with things that trigger you. Who were you before that situation occurred? Are you feeling lost now? Do you not know who you are or who you were? Then that's where you start. You figure out what you used to do before these things happened that crippled you, that isolated you, that took you out of being who you truly are as an individual. Find out what those things are. What are some of the things that you do to promote self-love in your life? Please jot them down in the comments. I would love to see. Please get the conversation started. um when was the last time you did something for yourself, um for you and you alone, that made you happy? Okay. um so just remember, you have to be the change that you want to see. And like I was saying last week, nothing changes if nothing changes. um so don't be afraid, you know, conquer your fears, step out of your comfort zone, do something today, even that you've been threatening to do. You've been saying that you were going to do this, that, and the third. So get that energy within yourself to move forward or move toward whatever it is that you said you were going to do. Because once you start chipping away at these goals that you have, and you accomplish those little things, and hopefully that you are celebrating every step of the way, then you develop a momentum, a forward momentum that will eventually get you to where you want to be. So with that being said, man, I appreciate you for sticking around with me. If you haven't done so, on your way out, hit the like button. If you feeling my vibe, if you like the type of things that we're talking about here, the environment that we're cultivating, by all means, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you here. Don't forget to share this video to anybody that you feel that would need it. If you need to talk to someone, my email is down in the banner, will also be in the description box. Let's get the conversation started. You are not alone. As you see, these are things that people are talking about because it's important. You are not alone. Trust me. There has been several moments in my life where, my self-esteem was low because I didn't feel love because of the trauma that was set before me. But I'm not there anymore. Yeah, it took some time, but I had to start out chipping at these wounds, if you will, at these bruises. And over time, yes, with constant work and dedication, you looking at it right now. Okay? And if I can do it, trust me, you can do it. I don't want to hear, oh, well, you don't understand my situation. If you are able to say that, that means that you're here in this present moment and you have the opportunity to say, you know what? That type of mentality, it stops today. So, with that being said, life is a movement, man. Get in traffic. The inner work is the new sexy, and I hope you out here strutting your stuff. Once again, I am your girl Empress. This has been another wonderful episode of the Life in the Black Memoirs, and I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.